Here, let's go into 2023 Oakland University Volleyball. And I always like to start the season reviews with a look in the previous season because you got to put into perspective kind of what they were coming into for this 2023 season. So for the 2022 season is where we'll put our attention to at first. They had an overall record of just 11 wins and 19 losses, 7 and 11 in conference play, and that causing them to miss the Horizon League tournament that hosts only the top 6 seeds for the conference as opposed to welcoming all 10 teams into the tournament like some of the other sports do. But volleyball and soccer has followed the same format as well. Both the men's and women's soccer teams, they allow the top 6 in. So, unfortunately, the previous year, Oakland unable to make the cut to make the tournament last year, and thus they had a bit of a bad taste left in their mouth for that one. And I'm going to make a call back to a really early episode of the GioMoShow. This one was last year. Around this time, maybe like a couple of weeks ago last year, I talked to Patty Cesarini, one of the seniors on this year's volleyball team and a great friend of the program, friend of Oakland University, friend of the GioMoShow. And I talked to her about not only her origins in the sport of volleyball and how it was almost basketball. We also talked to her about that previous season, about how they didn't make the tournament, they didn't make the cut, and she was telling me that it's not the standard that they want. They were not happy about it, and they want next season to be a big improvement, and it's just they were not satisfied with the result of that 2022 season. So with that, and you can go onto the GioMoShow's YouTube channel here. Scroll way down to the GioMoShow interviews. That was back when I had the GioMoShow interviews here on the GioMoShow YouTube channel. Since then, we moved them over to WXOU Sports. Another reason to go and subscribe to that one. But you could go and check that interview out with Patty Cesarini to get kind of a view of that, and also learn about her as an upcoming broadcaster and now soon to be, or currently, retired volleyball player. So that's there for you if you'd like to watch it. But that all sets the stage for this year. In the 2023 season, the Golden Grizzlies improved greatly from records both in conference and overall. 17 wins is what they had last year, a 17-14 overall record, and an 11-7 conference record, good enough to get them in that 6th spot and into the Horizon League tournament. But before we get into that, let's take you through the flow of the season. We'll go through game by game or kind of tournament by tournament. We'll get you through the rest of the season to kind of have you with a sense of a flow as to how this season went for the Golden Grizzlies. So it started off, we go to August 25th of 2021. They had a 3-game tournament in the Chicago Classic where they faced Lindenwood, UIC, and St. Thomas of Minnesota. In that stretch of 3 games, unfortunately, the Golden Grizzlies would end that one 1-2, suffering a 5-game loss to Lindenwood and a 3-game sweep against former Horizon League team UIC. And then at St. Thomas, they cleaned it up with a 3-2-1 win over St. Thomas to get them to a 1-2 start to the out-of-conference part of the season. They then move on to the Popcorn Classic, that one being held in Valparaiso, also, or not Horizon League, but a former foe of the Golden Grizzlies in leagues past. This one, a 3-game tournament with Eastern Michigan, Western Illinois, and hosting Valparaiso. The Eastern Michigan Eagles fell to the Golden Grizzlies. We gave them a 4-game loss. I guess I'm twisting my words here. A 3-1 victory for the Golden Grizzlies over the Eastern Michigan Eagles. This is at September 1st, and we're at the top of September. Western Illinois would suffer the same fate to the Golden Grizzlies. We won and beat them 3-1. But hosting Valparaiso gave it to the Golden Grizzlies as they were sent home with a bad taste in their mouth. An 0-3 loss for the Golden Grizzlies in that last game of the Popcorn Classic. That puts them at an even 3-3 going into the Golden Grizzly Invitational as Oakland hosted one of these 3-game tournaments in the arena, once again facing Eastern Michigan, as well as hosting Kansas State and Kansas City and Chicago State. As the host, Oakland got their first win. They repeated a 3-1 win over Eastern Michigan once again. But then against Kansas City, a 1-3 loss was had, and then against Chicago State, the Golden Grizzlies were swept. So unfortunately, they end 1-2 in their own tournament. That's setting them at a 4-5. Yes, a 4-5 record. I won't be going through the entire record through the whole way, but I'm at least trying to keep track. So they had one non-tournament. This wasn't an event, but they went then on September 12th to Toledo to face the Rockets, where the Golden Grizzlies got a 5-game win, 3-2 over the Toledo Rockets, to set them up for the Saluki Invitational, where they had a couple of games against UT Martin and Southern Illinois. They would split those two games, winning in 5 against UT Martin and then losing in 4 to Southern Illinois, to set them up at a 6-6 record going into the Horizon League play of the regular season. We're now moved down to September 19th of this past fall. The Golden Grizzlies would start off on the right foot, facing Purdue Fort Wayne in Purdue Fort Wayne, giving them a sweep. 3-0 Golden Grizzlies in their first Horizon League match against the Mastodons. Unfortunately, when they come home for their first Horizon League match, or first home Horizon League match, Youngstown State Penguins gave them the business with a 1-3. Or, excuse me for always going backwards with the records, but Oakland will lose 1-3 to Youngstown State in their first home Horizon League game. But not far after, in that same weekend, we would host Robert Morris, where we fixed that up real quick. Swept Robert Morris 3-0 to put the Golden Grizzlies now 2-1 in Horizon League play at September 23rd. They would then go on a road trip. They would go in their next 3 games would be on the road against IUPUI, Wright State, and Northern Kentucky. Oakland would go 2-1 during this 3-game road trip, putting them now 2-1 plus 2-1 is 4-2. excuse my math. I'm about to have an engineering degree, but I should be better at this. Either way, against IUPUI in Indianapolis, Golden Grizzlies would survive and get the 5-game victory over the Jaguars, and then face Wright State. Get that one done in 4 as they beat the Raiders 3-1. But then Northern Kentucky, their final game of that road trip, now in September 30th, they were swept, unfortunately, by the Norse, 0-3. But still, the Golden Grizzlies doing very well to start their season. Currently, at this point, and again, I'm going to review this, and when you guys listen to the podcast, I'll be sure to trim this up a little bit, and we'll clean up the action. But 2-1 and 2-1, that puts them at a 4-2 start to their regular season, and then they come home for not only October 6th, but they had a weekend of home games against the Wisconsin teams as well as a part of homecoming weekend. But on October 6th, the Golden Grizzlies faced Cleveland State, where the Golden Grizzlies got that one done in 4, getting a win against Cleveland State 3-1 to set them at a 5-2 Horizon League record. Then the next weekend, the Golden Grizzlies would host both the Wisconsin teams. On homecoming weekend, the Panthers were the first one to come to town, and unfortunately they gave the Golden Grizzlies a sweep themselves, giving them their 3rd loss in the Horizon League season. But on Senior Day, this one, October 14th, still part of homecoming weekend, Oakland against Green Bay would win it in 5. That one being close the entire way through. The Golden Grizzlies get their win on Senior Day. Many of these games, by the way, especially the home ones in particular, were on WXOU Sports. We got the full broadcast, and we got interviews with some of the players after those games, those matches as well. So if you want a little bit more insight as to these games, you can listen to some of the broadcasts and some of the highlights and interviews that we have with the players over on WXOU Sports. But the Golden Grizzlies would advance to 6-3 in the Horizon League season with a win over Green Bay, surviving in 5. They celebrated many seniors. We'll get to that towards the end of the recap here, but we continue through the season. So now the Golden Grizzlies are 6-3, and they go back on the road. October 20th and 21st, they face Robert Morris and Youngstown State. Robert Morris got their revenge after being swept by the Golden Grizzlies. Robert Morris would win that one 3-1. and then Youngstown State would be the next on the road trip. And remember, when Oakland hosted them early in the season, Oakland lost that one 1-3. But when they visited them in Youngstown, Ohio, Golden Grizzlies got that one done in 3 to put them at a 7-4 record in the Horizon League season. 3-game homestand is what's up next. October 24th, 27th, and 28th is their 3-game homestand. We get into near the Halloween time of the season. Oakland would get their season sweep over the Mastodons on Pride Night, winning that one in 5 against the Mastodons on October 24th. Then a packed weekend, October 27th and 28th. Northern Kentucky was the first one. Oakland gets that one done in 5, but Wright State would come to town and give the Golden Grizzlies a 4-game loss. I want to add a little color to that Wright State game. That was a Halloween game. It was a costume contest, and we were there on WXOU dressed up on the sideline. That one was so much fun to do. It was me and Harj and Bhutar on the call. I literally grew a mustache for all of October to have the Luigi costume with a real mustache. So I called the game in a Luigi costume, and Harj was in a full Batman costume the entire game. Even a photographer, Skip Townsend, got a shot of me. Not looking, obviously, and I look terrible, but with my headset on in a Luigi costume, he got a great shot of me during that game. So I wanted to give a shout out to that one. I got that one on my Instagram if you guys want to check out what I looked like for that one. That one was fun to do despite the result of the game. So with that, a 2-1 homestand will put the Golden Grizzlies at 9-5. Really hope I'm keeping this right, or else the entire podcast is just going to end up being wrong. But we now move into the November month, the final month of the season for Oakland Volleyball, for Horizon League Volleyball. They would go to Cleveland State on November 3rd, and they would get the season sweep over the Cleveland State Vikings as well. They would get this one done in 5 to move them up to 10-5 on the season. And for the Golden Grizzlies, they would add on to it, hosting IUPUI for their final home game of the season. Golden Grizzlies would get the sweep, giving them 11 conference wins. And remember, last year they only had 7. And for those conference wins, 11 marks the most in Golden Grizzlies volleyball since 2017. In the past, this is, to put that into words and not just numbers, this is the best season Oakland Volleyball has had in terms of wins in 7 years. So that's a big step, and that's a big move for the program, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, there was a couple of games left in the season. They would go to Wisconsin to face Green Bay and Milwaukee, losing both of them to put them at an 11-7 conference record, and that means I was tracking it right the entire way through. My counting was correct. So where that puts Oakland, now we get into the Horizon League tournament. Regular season is done. 11-7 is their record going into it. Good enough for 6th place and good enough for a spot in the Horizon League tournament, where the Golden Grizzlies did not make it last year. This year, they do. And to give you the full standings going into that Horizon League tournament, Wright State was first place with a 15-3 conference record, followed by Green Bay and Milwaukee, both 13-5. Northern Kentucky would be 12-6. Oakland would, in fact, make it 5th place. Excuse me. They are the 5th. Oakland was the 5th seed in the tournament, not the 6th seed. So they didn't just get in. They solidified themselves in. So Oakland was 5th place, 11-7. Cleveland State would be the 6th place team, 10-8. Out of the 18 conference matches played. So that sets up Oakland with a quarterfinals matchup against 4th place Northern Kentucky. And I believe it was Wright State that ended up hosting this one because of their number 1 seed. Yep, this one is at Wright State. Oakland would unfortunately suffer a loss in the first round of the tournament, being swept by Northern Kentucky to send them home packing early into the Horizon League tournament and capping off what was a sad ending but otherwise a great season for Oakland volleyball. No doubt about it. And again, we'll put this into perspective here. Like I mentioned, this is the most conference wins since 2017. And not only that, but we got all league honors to go on top of this one. And I know chronologically these came out before the tournament, but I wanted to at least wrap up the season before we get into that. So now getting into some of the season awards that were given out. Oakland would find themselves on the first team, as Emily Wickman would find herself on the first team of the Horizon League. And in addition to that, she was also named Defensive Player of the Year for the Horizon League, as she has just been everywhere all over the court all season long. She set, and I'll put a number to it, she set the single season digs record for the Golden Grizzlies. And I said I put a number to it, but let me go find that number. Excuse me. But Emily Wickman setting that record, 659 digs, a new school record, as she was named Defensive Player of the Year and earned all league first team honors. Wickman played in all 31 matches this season and was named Horizon League Volleyball Player of the Week on October 30th. I thought it was another day. She was a Horizon League Player of the Week throughout the season. But that doesn't matter because you're Defensive Player of the Year, first team, one of the best in the league. For Emily Wickman, she is one of the seniors that will be graduating this season, unfortunately, for the Golden Grizzlies. But she caps it off with a historic season for the Golden Grizzlies. And keeping us with the Horizon League honors. Where'd it go? Over here. In addition to that, the second team would feature Golden Grizzly as well. Patty Cesarini finishing off her senior season with the second team all-league honor. And all-freshman team includes a Golden Grizzly as well. Gentry Brown, downtown Gentry Brown, as Kevin Beers like to put it in the arena, got her spot in the all-freshman team for the Horizon League. And even in the Sportsmanship Award finalists, Annika Prisby was among those nominated for the Sportsmanship Award. To put the Golden Grizzlies in every category of postseason awards, whether individual, first team, second team, freshman team, sportsmanship award, a Golden Grizzly was featured in each. So that wraps up a fantastic season for Oakland volleyball. They got a lot of seniors to fill the shoes of for this season. You got Sarah Turner, you got Patty Cesarini. Excuse me, let me pull this up just to make sure. One moment here. But yeah, no doubt, Patty Cesarini, Sarah Turner, Anna Nye, and Kennedy Dolmage are some of the seniors that will have their shoes be filled in this next season. They've been pillar pieces of the program. Sarah Turner, a new addition for this year, but otherwise, those Golden Grizzlies have been there for a while. So it's going to be up to Coach Krista Rice and the coaching staff to be able to fill those shoes and build on to this season. Climb the ranks of the Horizon League in volleyball as well. Look to get deeper into the Horizon League tournament and potentially get themselves a first-round bye. We'll see what they do here. We'll be covering them on the GioMoShow this upcoming season when they start in August. So that'll wrap it up for the first segment of the GioMoShow. We talked all about Oakland volleyball and their past season in 2023 as part of our season review series here on the GioMoShow that we'll be doing throughout the summer, and we'll be covering track and field and swim and dive next week. That is a decision that was made just this moment here. We'll talk about track and field and swim and dive next season on the GioMoShow, but you can stay up to date on everything on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you're watching us afterwards, all that is in the description here, but if you're listening live now, the GioMoShow, the GIOMO show, is where you can find me on social media and Twitter. GIO Mosheri WXOU is where you can find me. Use the hashtag the GioMoShow to get connected with the show and stay up to date with what we got going on. So that'll wrap up this segment here. We'll head it over to the USPBL after this break here on WXOU.